Yo, what up? What up? What up? What up? What up? What up? It's Tuesday. What's the word, folks? Welcome to another episode of Assembly of Excellence podcast. I am your host for this evening. What's the word? How we feeling? 2 days down. Wednesday right around the corner. Glory, praise, and honor to the Most High. It is a humbling day, humbling experience. I'm grateful to be here with you guys one more evening to have these conversations. Shout out to Anna, Sarah Gate in the building. I thank you. I appreciate you. Everyone watching from Twitter, Twitch, I appreciate you. Facebook, all across the board, you are most welcome here. Mikasa is Sukasa. Grab a chair, grab a drink, get comfortable, make yourself at home. That's what this place is for. Bless me. Uh, we got a good one for you tonight. Before we get into the conversation and the discussion at hand, I want to give a shout out to my writers, my poets, my content creators, everyone that I've met from Twitter and Instagram, our projects, from Penelope Stokes all the way down to Suicide Doors, man. I tell you, I've made a lot of connections since I've been using social media. It's not all that bad. Everything is not a horrible experience. It's not always traumatizing, There are some good things that come from being up here. And one of those for me was being able to get in contact with folks like Anna and Sarah, um, Jason and Derek. The list goes on of the amount of folks that I've been able to communicate and create friendships with since I've started this platform. And it's definitely something that I take into consideration every single day that I get up, hit record, and begin to have these discussions. Tonight won't be any different. There's some things about this particular subject I wasn't aware of, but I'm curious to know how everyone feels about it. How much did you know about it? Can you relate to it? Do you know anyone that's been in this position before? Uh, yeah. So we got a couple of people I want to send my thoughts and prayers out to. One, Miss Terry. I know she just lost a loved one. I want to send my thoughts and prayers out to her and her family. I want to send my thoughts and prayers out to Christy. She was supposed to be with us tonight, but she's not feeling too good right now at the moment. So I want to keep her lifted up in spirit. Um, Jason's going to be pulling up here in a few minutes, but I do got one of my brothers, my little brothers, pulling back up here. Uh, he kind of been wreaking havoc all over social media since I came across his page. He's been up here on a few occasions. Amazing insight. Um, pretty laid back. I think for the most part, if you've been keeping up with the shows, you know exactly who I'm speaking of. If you don't, get familiar with them, tap in. Uh, Ian, I'm about to bring you up, sir. Uh, let's go ahead and jump into this discussion.
Hey, what's up?
Yo, yo, yo. What's the word? I like the shades, bruh.
Appreciate it.
bad at those. Uh, what's the word, man? How we feeling today?
Pretty good. Ready for a good talk. Interesting topic. Didn't really even know much about it. I looked it up when you sent me that text to figure out really what it was, and after looking at it for a little bit and kind of trying to piece some of the stuff together, I think I'm ready.
Gotcha. I got it. All right. Y'all bear with me. I've been messing around with some stuff. I'm trying to I'm trying to get some things right over here. But nah, as far as the subject at hand, imposter syndrome. My initial thoughts on the definition is someone who is trying to be someone that they're not. You're basically emulating someone else's light, their life, their walk, their speech. And it's funny, we've been speaking about plagiarism a lot on threads today. People stealing other people's identities, trying to be or take form of someone else's whole walk for whatever reason. But what I ended up doing, because I wanted to be sure on what I was actually speaking on, I went on ahead and got the actual definition for it. So I'm gonna read it and then I'm gonna give you the mic and let me know your thoughts. Uh Imposter syndrome is the condition of feeling anxious and not experiencing success internally, despite being high performing in external objective ways. This condition often results in people feeling like a fraud or a phony and doubting their abilities. With imposter syndrome, a person doesn't feel confident or competent regardless of what they achieve. They don't experience the joy of success because they're always waiting for their inadequacies and fraudulence to come to light. Although Clance and Emis originally defined imposter syndrome to describe a condition they observed in professional women, research shows that men and women can equally suffer from imposter syndrome. But humility is good, right? Just realistic to acknowledge that no person knows everything. The world does change quickly, and problems or situations people face might be more complex than they seem at first. Yet, imposter syndrome is different from a healthy dose of caution of open mindedness. Humility and caution stem from an accurate assessment of one's own capabilities against a complex situation. The imposter phenomenon, on the other hand, stems from a sense of inadequacy in the environment despite objectively being competent. It is notable in that it isn't about assessing the situation, but assessing themselves. They feel more inadequate than others facing the same complex situations, such that they don't belong there at all. Imposter syndrome can cause people to feel a sense of time running out. It's as if people have been putting on an act and they can't keep the act up much longer. This is despite all evidence to contrary. Remember, people often have these thoughts and feelings after achieving and overcoming obstacles throughout their lives.
Yeah. So
I know
I
that's
mean,
a lot. But
Yeah, that was. I feel like for me, with just the main definition of it being the condition of feeling anxious and not experiencing success internally, despite being high performing in external objective ways, and also social media, right? I feel like a lot of people look at celebrities, famous people, etc., right, that will post their lavish lifestyle and the things that they've accomplished, and for a lot of people, right, they don't post the hardship, the struggle, the pain, the trauma, all the failures that they went through in order to get there. So now the people that are comparing themselves to that said person feel like, oh well, I don't live this life and blah blah blah, and they make it seem so easy, but it's not easier for me and all this other stuff. So for me, whenever I talk to certain people about topics relating to things like this, I always the best advice that I could give them is, it's a sense of it should be you versus the person you see in the mirror. So essentially, me versus me. As long as you're getting better every day, then like you're doing the right things. But also, don't ever compare yourself to somebody else, right? Because you're looking at their life from an outside view, looking in, right? Trying to, you know, piece together all like how they did this, how they did that, etc. And very few people will actually explain the things that they went through in order to get there, right? So I feel like to a degree, it's a lot of our faults in a sense for thinking that things are easier when in reality, you know that it's not. But just because other people make it seem easy, you think it is for a little bit. But shit. Can you hear me any better?
yeah, no, 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 you clear. It's just it's a little choppy.
Oh, for real?
I'm clear. It's just a little.
Okay. Um.
Say something now.
But yeah, back to
I think you good. Yeah, you good now.
All right. But back to what I was saying, it's partially our faults for, thinking that things are as easy as they seem just because other people make it seem easy. And I also feel like for, the influencers and the rappers, professional athletes, etc., I feel like they should also be able to post, their failures and the things that they did wrong and mistakes they made, how it wasn't just didn't happen like that, right? Because they know that they have a huge fan base, especially with, I would say, impressionable younger people. So to instill in their brains that like, oh, you just follow these 3 or 4 steps and you can become this, that's not true, right? So I feel like it kind of goes both ways as far as understanding that everything isn't as easy as it seems. Um, but yeah, like as long as you're doing better than you were the day before, then I feel like comparing yourself to other people is asking, for something like imposter syndrome to happen to you in a sense.
So it, I had to really sit and meditate on it for a second because throughout my my adolescence from probably I say 9 to about 16 or so, I wanted to do all these different things professionally, romantically, spiritually. I wanted to be what I thought at the time was going to be the most optimal choice for my path, but as such as life, you get thrown off your course, you get distracted, you get introduced to different things such as drugs, identifying or trying to identify what type of crew or friend group you belong to. Um, and I think with a lot of people that grow up that way, you get thrown off of your purpose, or maybe you don't really know it, and you adapt all of these different principles, and you try to fit in or become something that's typically not you, but you're searching for something that gives you a sense of validation. You want to feel that you are contributing something to society and whatever measure. 13, 14 years old, well, you might want to just be a part of the cool table. You want to be a part of a sports group. That's where you get your attention from whoever it is that you desire. You want to get the eye of the cheerleader, or you want the teachers to have more favor on you in terms of your scores, or maybe you're trying to make your parents proud of you for doing something, even though it might not necessarily be what you want it to be. And what I've noticed trying to conform, or like Sarah said, mirror someone else, what it does, it gives you this temporary gratification that you can't get permanently. And so you're never satisfied or happy. I could be off about that with this particular subject, but anytime that I saw, even just myself, you're trying to be something that you aren't, you're never fully happy. Even if let's say you're good at what you're doing, but it's not for you, it's for the other person. You're good at it, but that was never really your thing. So, as much as you can play basketball or you can play an instrument, your heart isn't in it. So, you spend weeks and days and months practicing to get better, to improve, to showcase your talents in front of people and your peers, and you might get some rounds of applause, you might get some approval, but when you go home and you're alone to yourself, something's still missing. You're not fully really yourself. But I digress.
Yeah, no, 100%. I feel like the adolescence age is kind of where you're trying to figure out where you fit in, people you want to be around, kind of what you want to do with your life. And I mean, even beyond adolescence, there are still plenty of times where people will change career paths or even change friend groups. Something traumatic will happen in their life, so they kind of just step away from everything for a little bit. So I feel like once you kind of get to a spot where you feel comfortable enough to, well, once you get to a spot where like you feel like, okay, this is where I want to be for however long I'm alive, or however long, whatever the case may be, right? I think that overall you'll be fine. And as far as like what I was explaining about earlier, like comparing yourself to other people. I feel like it's okay to have people that you look up to, role models. People that you aspire to be like, stuff like that, because you like the way that they're living and you want to have a life similar to that. But you have to understand that it comes with consequences, and it comes with hardship and all that other stuff. That it's gonna be hard to get through, but once you're done with it, you end up with a life that's worth living, right? And as far as your analogy to basketball went, I actually decided to not play my senior year, which was this year, because injuries and just it was for me a point in my life where I felt like I needed to step away a little bit from it, just because I felt like my heart wasn't in it completely, and I wanted to focus on other things like business. And now I'm actually ending up going back to my high school over the summer and next year for the regular season to coach. So I feel there's a whole bunch of stuff that happens in life where you kind of have to make choices, um, and as long as you feel like you are making the right one and you're okay with the choice that you made and you can live with it, then there's nothing really to be upset or sad about or anything like that. So
Uh, and I'm curious that I don't know if it applies to what I said or what he said. She got her, and let me make sure I get this correct. She got her degree in psychology. Was that something that she wanted for herself, or did someone else want that for her? I don't know how many of us spend a lot of our lifetime pursuing dreams and ambitions and goals that aren't even ours in the first place. Might not even necessarily be a career. I mean, it could be a number of things, but we chase that high and that sense of acceptance because the way that the world is set up, either you are in or you're out, and the way that the narrative is painted, if you're out, you're missing out on something. So let me get this one straight. If I'm doing something completely different, I dress different, I talk different, I paint outside of the lines, my opinions constantly oppose everything that you say, and I don't eat the same food that you eat. You're telling me that I have to stand. It reminds me of the Simpsons movie, right? Something happened. I can't remember what happened in the town. They put a a dome over Springfield, and Homer and his family ended up outside of the dome looking in. So because I decide that I want to live a different way, that I'm actually basically standing out here looking in while everybody is having a great time, living the American dream. But if I decide that I want to be a part of your group and do everything that you do and cuss and party and this, that, and the third, then somehow that's supposed to make me unique or complete. Yeah, Anna, you know what I'm talking about. I disagree with that. I look at a lot of folks who run with this narrative is that if you do everything that everyone else is doing, you're going to be 1,000 times happier. Uh, hold on, bro. If everybody is doing everything that everyone else is doing, then your life is going to be complete. Well, based on statistics and the things that I see on a regular basis, that can't be that true because suicidal rate wouldn't be as high as it is. People wouldn't be confused about their sexuality, so on and so forth. Why why are you trying to be something that you aren't? You weren't born this way. I don't think you were raised that way either. But this is what happens when you get introduced to anything that's outside of your the foundation of your house, where you don't have a father or a mother who have boundaries and instill inside of you things that are essential to your development in the right order. So you find yourself trying to gravitate towards anything and everything that appeals to you in some type of way, but it's a temporary fix. We got Jason in the building. Let me see if he might. Uh,
What's up,
there
guys?
he is. There he is. What's going
Ian,
on,
how's it
brother?
going?
Good. How are you?
I'm well, thanks. Good to see you again.
Nice to see you too.
So I don't know how much of this you caught, but I know is one of your this is one of your things, you know. So uh I'll pass the mic over to you, man, in terms of how do you feel about imposter syndrome? What does it mean to you? What and how does it affect people? And then we'll give it we'll just keep it in rotation.
First of all, thank you so much for having me in. I know that I'm late. As Sarah has said, fashionably late. Um, uh, this is something that I, first of all, personally have struggled with myself, and second of all, something that I have devoted a lot of time to studying. So my understanding of imposter syndrome is it's the belief that what you do isn't good enough because someone else has already done it. And I want to repeat that it's the belief that you are not good enough because what you want to do is something that someone else has done. The reality is, yes, someone else has already done it, but that doesn't mean that you can't do what you need to do, because the reality is everything that is out there has already been talked about. It's just repackaged in some way, given a different angle, like new lipstick on the same pig. And they the people that create these things then put this out as their own, and they do very well. And it's it's not that you should be shamed for doing something that has been done. You should be celebrated for the fact that you have your own spin on what you are talking about. Because what you have to say is probably something that someone else hadn't thought of. And with you giving your perspective, so to give a really good example, a personal example, I'm a behavior analyst. But if I believe that I couldn't talk about whatever has been talked about by people like Chase Hughes, like a Vanessa Van Edwards, like the holistic psychologist, like Chris Voss, like um, Jeremy Minor, like the list can go on and on and on and on and on, then I would never do a goddamn thing. And that is not something that I have the luxury of worrying about. I can't worry about what someone else has done. They did it in their own way. Fantastic. I learned from them. I learned a lot. Now it's my job to take what I've learned and put my own spin on it, make a unique contribution. I'm not going to go off and steal someone else's work. That's plagiarism. That's illegal. That'll land you in trouble, as it should. If you're going to do that, that's weak. But if you are going to put your own perspective on something, I mean, you've got people that are retweeting news events, people who are doing reaction videos, people are talking about the same thing over and over and over again, and they're making bank. Do you think they're worrying about whether someone else is judging them about the fact that they've done something else someone else has done? No. They are making money because people are paying attention to them. What it really is, it's a fear of success. What you're experiencing is a fear of success. And that fear is because you believe that you have to, for some reason, you have it in your mind. Maybe because you thought that you need to be good. The only way that you can be good is if you are original. Unfortunately, less than 9% of the population has the capacity to be original, which means the rest of us, the other 91%, 92%, are going to be forced to take what's already done and rehash it in some way, recalibrate it, make it unique, and give it in our own perspective. And if you have this feeling that you have to be original in order to be good, and you need to wait until you are original, you'll be waiting until the day you die. Most likely, you will not make the contribution that you can because you'll be too worried about what other people think. You'll want to please others rather than honoring yourself and speaking what's really in your heart. You have a message inside you. Don't allow a fear of success or what other people are thinking don't let that be the thing that hamstrings you from being successful. That's a crutch. It is something that is going to keep you from being your authentic self. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to step off the mic. Sarah, yeah, it really does. It narrows down to the fear of success. Sorry, I know I was going to yield the mic, but I saw Sarah's comment. Yeah, it narrows down to the fear of success. If you look at things like procrastination and especially the imposter syndrome, this is a fear of being successful. This is not a fear of failure. People who have imposter syndrome will oftentimes sabotage themselves. So they will look to fail, but they don't look to fail in order to learn. They look to fail in order to convince themselves that they cannot succeed. Now I'm done.
Well, I want to go back to Mel's point earlier. Everybody essentially is their own person, right? No two people are the exact same, and other people may not agree with it, right? And that's completely fine. If everybody liked everybody, then what the hell would the point of anything be, right? And as far as Jason's point, it's I kind of do agree with it being a fear of success almost, because with success comes a lot of stress, and I feel like a lot of people aren't really ready for that type of stress and things that can come along with it. And as far as saying what you think and what you believe and flowing with it, just say it. Hell, that's what I do, right? I mean, what are they gonna do? Rip my fucking vocal cords out? Who cares? It's your opinion, and it's like they don't have to agree with it. They don't have to like it, right? It's who you are as a person, right? And the people who agree with it and like you because of it and all this other stuff, those are the people that you want to be around. So, as far as I feel like this whole um, topic as a whole is kind of just being comfortable with being your own person. If you want to fit in, fine, right? But no two people, like I said earlier, are the same, right? So to sit here and like try and fit in, it's in reality kind of a waste of time, because then you also have to worry about like, oh well, especially with, I would say, probably girls more so my age. They're all, oh, she copied my nails. Oh, we got the same. Is there nothing else to talk about? But yeah, no, I mean, as long as you're comfortable with who you are as a person, do whatever. I mean, obviously not something that's extreme, but do whatever, say whatever, live your life on your terms. It's as simple as that.
So self-sabotage. So I'm gonna ask this question. Is what we saying here that a person is mimicking someone else's success out of fear of finding success, being true to themselves, or sabotaging themselves by mimicking other people, hoping that they in the mimicry of the other person's uniqueness. There's a lot of YouTubers who basically copy and paste the same formula. There might be a slight spin on their delivery. Some people edit different than the other person. Some people's personality care differently than the other person. But they basically stealing and using the same stories, same topics. You know, the pop your balloon thing. Balloons, they're doing flags. So you basically toss your flag instead of popping the balloon. So there's people who are making money from it. Are these people are them on, or is this something a little more uh complex than what I'm thinking it is?
So
Because
two
if I'm
terms.
being honest,
Oh, sorry. Go ahead. If you're being honest.
go ahead.
All right. I was just gonna say. So two terms that
Just
I
one thing.
avoid. Oh, this delay is killing us, man.
you got the floor. I promise.
All right, cool. So two terms that I like to avoid as much as possible are copying and mimicking, and that because that assumes that there is no forethought, no personality, no um, individual drive that is causing someone to do their own thing. What you're speaking of about people who talk about basically the same thing, this is called a trend. And people trend because they model each other. The term is actually modeling because they are modeling something that is successful. And you hit the nail right on the head when you said that they do something just a little bit differently. The little bit of difference is all that's needed. The little bit of personality, the different way that they spin it, the way that they comment on the information. It doesn't matter. If people are watching them, they are being successful. Now, at some point, the trend is going to die. This is why it's called a trend. It is not things that trend. They trend up and then they trend down. And when they trend down, these people need to find something else. Now, people who have found success in a trend, when the downtrend comes, they are more likely to find something else that they can go to that will inspire them to keep going. And they'll try many different things. They'll fail a lot, but they know what success is like. And so they will keep on going in order to get back to that feeling of success, that trend of being successful. So the idea of different people playing off of the same information, doing things the same way, this is just a trend. This is how fashions are created. This is how industries are made. This is how genres are created. Because think about a genre like drama. You can't just have one drama story. That's boring. But you can have many different drama stories that have the same kind of it's the mistress, or it's a murder mystery, or it's a suspense thriller, or it's something else. There are many different subsets within this genre, that there are many titles and many stories, and many of them borrow off of other information, and they're still wildly successful as long as the acting is good and it's not on Hallmark. And when you have this kind of repeatable system, you've created something that people are going to like. You've created an industry. You've created a trend, and people follow that trend. And as long as it keeps on trending, people are going to keep on creating information about that regards to that. And unless it stops, there's no reason for them to do anything differently, nor should they, because they have found something that is going to be very successful for them. That I will say that a little bit slower because I realized that I just warped right through that. They have found something that has been very successful for them, and they want to keep going as they should. And these people know how to do something successful because they've done it once already.
Yeah, so I mean, adding on to the point that both of you guys made about people latching on to trends or certain things that are blowing up and then adding their own little spiel to it, that's fine. I mean, as long as you're getting attention, you're making money and all this other stuff. Like, are you really gonna give a shit what user 456782301 says? You know what I mean? So it's one of those things where it gives you experience, it gives you attention, it can make you money, etc. It gets your name out there. It's in a sense, it's personal branding, right? And in my opinion, I don't think there's really anything wrong with that. All right, it gets your name out there, what you're doing, etc. And that's fine. That's, in my opinion, I think that's what really a lot of people do, right? I mean, you see people all over the internet just selling like courses on how to make money online, doing this, doing that, etc., right? And it's it's kind of, I guess, the norm, I would say, almost now. It's a trend that's really popular. People are using it to their name, and that's as long as you're comfortable doing it and you don't really give a shit about what the critics or the haters are gonna say because you're copying somebody else's method with your own little spiel that you add into it. Then I mean, keep doing it. Who really cares? It's part of what life's about. And I mean, to the point you made earlier about how only a small percentage of people have the ability to follow the trend, adding our little hint of who we are in it. A lot of people, I would say, they take things that work, right? They use it. They add their own small clips of themselves into it, and then that's that's really all it is. As long as you're comfortable doing that, then screw it. You might as well. Truthfully, what's the worst thing that happens? A couple bots comment, "Oh, you copied it." If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Facts.
For me, I never felt going to the lengths of utilizing someone else's material because it just didn't feel right to me. I felt I felt like I was like by definition, I felt fraudulent. I didn't feel original or organic. And it felt as if anytime that I tried to be or do something that was working for other people, typically backfired in my face. Either it backfired in my face or it worked for a little while, but eventually what ended up happening was it catches up to you and you have to show for it. It's almost like, all right, for 5 years you've successfully been able and follow this formula almost to a T. Breaking Bad is a perfect example of what I'm talking about. Heisenberg had the purest product out there for the longest time. He showed Jesse Pinkman how to, but even after uh he decided that he wasn't going to be in that field anymore. His wife was fed up with all his lies, and he wanted to live a normal life. And they tried to recruit Jesse to. It was a whole entirely different everything. So it's like you can get away with it, but for so long, and I guess some people will accept it because it's like, it's not this, but it's the closest thing to it. And I guess that's why I felt comfortable copying anyone else. If I'm not going to be, I just I just withdraw completely. Save me the time and everybody else.
That's called self sabotage.
with a lot of these thread robbers, because there's a bunch of them. Folks don't really care if it's from the original poster or or not, as long as they get that fix that they need from it.
So one thing I want to say to that is the worst thing that a person can do is they can convince themselves that no one is going to appreciate what they have to offer before they even offer it, before they even know if anyone's going to want it. To tell themselves, oh, no one's going to want this, there's something better. That's called a comparison complex. And a comparison complex will bite you in the ass every single time. This is one of the reasons why people fail so hard, because they compare themselves to others. I could do the same. I could compare myself to Chase Hughes, Chris Voss, Vanessa Van Edwards, Ken Blanchard, Deb Dana, Richard Boyatzis, Daniel Goleman, leaders in their industry, people that I have really studied a lot of and that I've taken material from to create my own thing to give out to the world. I can compare myself to them and say, oh, they've already got something that they're successful. I might as well not try. Screw that. Because I know that there is something that I can offer that they aren't touching. I can see where they are at their best, and I can see where I can add value. Yes, it's going to play on some of the things that they already touch on. Every single one of them has touched on some aspect of what I share with men. Every single thing. And I still grind. I still put myself out there. I still make sure that I can help people. Because it's not about you, man. It's not about it. And this goes for every single person that is watching. No one cares about you. And this is a good thing. What people care about is, can I be helped by the message that is in front of me right now? So why aren't you being the one that's sharing that message? They may not care about you, but they will care if you offer them something that they need. They will care about that. And so they will pay attention to you because you are offering something that they need. And it's very liberating when you look at it like that it's not you that they really are focusing on. It's what you are offering. Because what you are offering is just different enough. Maybe it's even just a price point. Maybe the price point is more approachable to the people that you want to serve. And someone else that is doing almost the exact same thing cannot reach this group of people because it's unapproachable. It doesn't matter about you. It matters about the people that you are helping. I think that the imposter syndrome and self-sabotage is the most selfish thing a person can do. Because they're making it all about them. They're making it all about what they are going to be doing, how they're going to be seen. No one cares. Really, truly, no one cares. So it's best if you just realize that you take this into account now. You say, okay, no one cares. Great. I can deal with that. Because people are going to care about what you have to offer. They will learn to care about you, and they will learn to hold you in high regard because of how you help. How you serve the people that you want to help. That is what they care about. That is all they care about. And when you are the person that is offering something that they want, that is offering something that they are looking for, that is when you become regarded well.
Yeah, no, I mean, 100%, really. I mean, he kind of nailed that. Overall, I would say nobody really gives a shit about you. It's especially for men. I would say it's more of how valuable you are to certain people, right? outside, like you were saying, nobody really gives a shit outside of your family and maybe a handful of really close friends. But outside of that, it's based off of what you can bring to other people to benefit their lives. Right? Is beneficial to other people, but will also help you. Right? Then do it and run with it. Right? That's really all I have to say on this. Yeah. Right. I mean, really, that's pretty much it. Nobody cares. Do what you're gonna do, right? And if it works, run with it. Why not?
Before you jump in, Melvin, I do want to address some of the things that Sarah has been saying because I think it's really important. So, Sarah, when we say sounds like a salesman, some of it is unintentional. They care what's in your wallet. I mean, that's a great excuse. That's a great reason not to engage. Those are great assumptions. Yeah, that it is true that some people will deliver a shitty product just to be able to get what's in your wallet, and that's all they care about. But when you know exactly what you need, and some of this is also the fact that people don't know what they need. They know they're looking for something, and sometimes they need to experience a few lemons before they get that glorious lemonade. And it isn't until they are able to understand what they really want, and once they do know what they want, they'll be able to sniff out the people who just are in it for the money like that. Because the people who are in it just for the money are going to be of a different caliber. They're going to be the kind of person that, like, all I want is your money, nothing else. And when you know what you want and you know what you're looking for, you're going to look for something that is complete, that is of the quality that you know will help. Especially if you've experienced a couple of duds, you'll be able to use that as a great learning experience.
Yeah, I wanted to add on to that a little bit. Also, um, yeah, I mean, as far as like the whole, you know, um, comparison to sales people, I would say, as far as that goes, you kind of have to just realize that not everybody is out for your benefit, right? Nobody's gonna wake up and care about your life. Nobody else is gonna give a shit for you, right? So that's it's one of really in reality one of those things where you have to kind of sense out that okay, this person probably doesn't really care about me, doesn't even really know I exist. So what am I really doing here? But also, it's for a lot of people. I don't remember your exact wording on it, Jason. I can't remember the exact wording, but um, it's also your fault if you decide to buy something, right? And it goes back to what Jason was saying about how a lot of people don't know what they want. That's completely and utterly true, right? A lot of people will make bullshit purchases just because something looks nice or this specific person was advertising it, knowing that you're probably not even going to use it, right? So, for as much as people can be extremely selfish when it comes to, what, especially car salesmen, right? But you also have to realize that to a certain extent, you have to stop making impulsive decisions and purchases, and that truthfully it goes for everybody, right? So that's where I'm at with it.
Do what you're going to do if you're happy with it. Don't if you're not going to do it in your own way. If you're not going to be original or you're not going to be unique about it, don't bother. If it doesn't bring you any joy, from a place that is going to help someone, don't bother with it. Bottom line, I don't impress people. So I'm trying to do everything for everyone else's validation, certain light because you're appeasing or being appealing to their senses. This shouldn't be a popularity contest. If there's a formula that works for you, I'm not knocking it. Go for it. But if you're not really happy with it, look inside yourself and ask if because we spend too much of our lifetime chasing that stuff that isn't for us, or you spend more of your years subconsciously is for you, and then you later on realize that you just wasted most of your life something that you could have put on the back burner. The whole thing to me was confusing at first because I just thought it was someone who was just pretending to be something that they weren't. I wasn't aware that there was so many different aspects inside. What it is, I have to hold myself accountable for a lot of it. And I think a lot of us don't do it, and we don't really self-evaluate that deep. I don't know if we ever really truly go that far into the whole to figure out where we kind of level off in all of this stuff. But I've seen people unhappy trying to figure it out. Why is this not working? Why is this not working? I did the exact same thing that this person did. I did the exact. Why? I mean, this is my grief with it. Why are people afraid to be themselves? Are people afraid? Really? What's the problem? What is it about you that you would rather be something else? I'll never understand it. I don't know if it's for me to understand, but I thought it was important to cover this. Hopefully, everything translates to how I pictured it. Uh, a lot of different little nuances. It's kind of been, yeah. But if you know someone who moves like that, have a conversation with them, see if they're really happy with where they are. Give them a little nudge, you know? Why not? I would rather someone be honest with me and tell me, even though I kind of self evaluate myself on a regular basis, I relate to it, or I just understand exactly the position that's been made on it. Capitalize off of doing it. I just ain't really for it.
if a person isn't willing to do everything they can to truly understand who they are, then there's a phrase that my stepdaughter introduced me to a while back, and it just stuck. And it goes like this: you get what you get, and you can't be upset. If you are unwilling to become self aware, if you're unwilling, or yeah, if you're unwilling to develop emotional intelligence, if you're unwilling to establish healthy boundaries, and you are unwilling to create some sort of stoic mentality, your your life is going to constantly be a roller coaster. You're going to feel like the world's out to get you, that you have no control over anything, and that you whatever you try to do is not going to be worth it, and you're going to sabotage yourself over and over and over again. And the more this happens, the more you're going to desire control. And the more you try to control things, the more you're going to realize that you have no control and that things just keep on going this way over and over and over again, because you are not trying to ground yourself in what you really do have control of, which are your thoughts, your feelings, your beliefs, your decisions, and your actions. Everything else is beyond your control. Control those five things. Bring those five things to heal and make them serve you rather than you being at their mercy. And you'll see how things change.
Touch on Mel's point about how, like, why it's hard for people to kind of be their own person. I feel like, especially now with my age group, um, I would say the biggest problem is people, they have to feel this, being liked feeling by everybody, right? And they want to do what this person's doing and this person, so that way they can all fit into the same category or group of people and whatnot. And you know, anybody who does something differently is, I guess, kind of in a sense almost frowned upon a little bit. Um, and I mean, like, even for me personally, like, I dress more nicely, for example. And some people like it. Some people say that you're like, oh, well, you dress like a grandpa. Okay, whatever, fine, right? And that's kind of just, it all kind of loops back into, as long as you're comfortable with, being who you are and being yourself, then really nothing else matters to a degree. And as far as um Jason's point as to, I feel like your own frame of reality is extremely important. Although, yeah, you can't control every single thing that gets thrown in your path, right? You still have a lot, well, 100% control over how you act, things, and all that other stuff. And essentially, you can plan, um, so that way you're always prepared, right? But to sit here and kind of just, like, I go with the flow for a sense, then it's like, I think you have no control. And at that point, you're just a feather in the wind, right? So you have to have some type of reality, some a form of reality in your own sense, but also a certain type of goal, and being able to find yourself, or else then life is, in reality, is just going to kick your ass.
Duly noted. Well said, well articulated, food for thought. I don't think anyone wants to be like anyone else. Unprogramming yourself to be like that is a whole entirely different monster. It can be done, but why break something? Well, let me rephrase that. Why fix something that isn't broken? I think that's the mindset that a lot of people got. A lot of revelation was given to me tonight, and I'm gonna have to meditate on it. Forgive me for the technical difficulties throughout the stream. I need to make me a phone call with my provider. Hopefully, when this is all up and ready to go, they rectified the issue that was presented, because tonight needed to be spoken on. I know I'm not the only one who's ever been in this position before, or have felt of trying to live up to a certain standard. And I think it's really important that we pay more attention to what we feed ourselves, how we feel about ourselves, and how we do service out here in the community. Honestly, uh, that's pretty much my final take on it. It's more than what I thought it was, and I thank you, Jason, man, for breaking you know, for your thoughts and your views on it. As usual,
My pleasure.
disappoint. Any final words? Do you have any final words for the people before we head out? I do want to make one announcement, but if y'all want to say anything before we close out, the floor is yours.
I want to say
Great.
thank you so much for making this topic and for inviting me, Ian. Really great comments that you made. I really appreciate it. I think that people who dress well, they tend to be more well respected than people who dress just like they're in the hood, or people who just like they're casual. I and the fact that you say that you do, if people say that you're just like a grandpa, screw them, because you're going to get more respect in the end because of the fact that you respect yourself, and it shows, and that's all that matters. People who are listening, if there's one piece of advice that I could give, it's stop worrying about what other people think of you, and stop worrying about how other people already are. No one else is going to make good decisions for you. No one else is going to set your life up for success. It's all on you. So why care? They're not going to care about you. Why would you care about them? It's not your business. Focus on your life and make sure you do the best for you, because that's how people will begin to respect you, truly respect you. People are respected for being nice. People are respected for being good, for being bold, for being honest, and for being someone that is of service to other people. Work on that, and I'm out.
Yeah. So first, I just wanted to thank you again for having me on. A lot of great conversations. Think we all learned a little bit on this topic, especially because at least I myself only knew that this was a thing. A couple minutes after Mel even texted me about the showing what the topic was about. Um, I will still continue to dress like a grandpa because why not? And that old saying, it's me versus me, and as long as you win the battle against the person in the mirror, then you'll be fine, right? Find something that you enjoy doing, or something that you can get a lot of attention out of, that can build yourself and get yourself out there, and just do with it, right? Nope, you really gonna give a shit what user 4862410 says? It's life, right? It's yours, nobody else's. Do what you want to do with it.
Thank you, everyone who came out. Anna, Greg, Sarah, Ian, Jason, everybody on Twitter and Twitch and all of those places. I appreciate you. Uh Friday interview coming up with yours truly, Christy, which I will be conducting with her tomorrow. So tune in for that one. I'm going to address the ceremony that I'm holding for the writers on Friday. So if you are a judge or of this award ceremony in any way, form, or fashion, make sure you are here on Friday. I want to make sure give out all the details on how to be a part of it, how to support, so on and so forth. I don't want nobody to be missing. So outside of that phenomenal show, fellas, uh, we be back on Thursday. I'm going to actually take uh tomorrow off in terms of live streaming. I had something set up for tomorrow, but I'm going to reserve that day. So if you need to reach me or anyone here, you know how. I hope and pray you all have a blessed, sending my love, saying good night. remind me, folks. I might have to